everybody, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to today's segment of Green Chat. Today we are coming to you from Pennsylvania, where we are joined by Erica Pukish and Adrienne Lisa from our Pennsylvania Cannadocs clinic. So say hello, ladies.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody. This is Adrienne.
So most of you know Erica has joined us several times here for Green Chat in various other state segments. But Adrienne, you're joining us live for the first time today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background.
Yes, thank you. I'm honored to be here. I love talking about my job in cannabis, and basically I'm an activist. I've been an activist since 2012. I'm HIV positive and a single mom, and I got involved with the fight for medical marijuana here in Pennsylvania about 4 years before we passed the bill.
Okay.
And I got to know so many great activists, and in 2016 we finally were successful, and ever since then I've been trying to help the state build a robust medical marijuana program, and I'm very pleased with where we are right now, and there's a lot of things that need to be improved, but there's a lot of wonderful things about Pennsylvania's medical marijuana program, and I'm very glad that we have a high amount of patients. We're up to, I believe there's almost 300,000, so.
That's substantial.
And I'm a caregiver, yes, and I'm a caregiver as well. I should say I was responsible for getting one of the conditions on the list, sickle cell anemia. When we were lobbying, I educated a House representative, and she ended up adding sickle cell anemia to the bill. So,
Adrienne, that's.
Feel...
Oh, please go on. I didn't mean to cut you off. My apologies.
No, you're fine.
I basically just wanted to say, first of all, wow. Thank you on behalf of our community here, thank you for all of your contributions into the state's medical cannabis program. It's definitely people like yourself and other activists that really drive the messaging and drive the legislative change for patients within that state. If not for voices like your own, cannabis programs would be, they wouldn't be as robust as they are, and they certainly wouldn't continue to evolve to be able to aid patients in achieving their healthcare goals. So by all means, thank you very much, Adrienne, for all of your efforts. We are so lucky to have you on our cannadocs team.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and I'm also humbled in that there's always more work to do.
That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. So before we get into our agenda today, and again, we are coming to you live from Pennsylvania. We will be talking about the Pennsylvania Medical Cannabis Program. For those of you watching live, if you are in Pennsylvania and might be wondering how you can become a member of the Medical Cannabis Program, or if you're wondering what cannadocs is all about, stay tuned. We'll get to that agenda shortly. But just to keep things lighthearted, there's always room for smiles and fun in our day. So we're going to start off with some fun facts. And for those of you who have watched previously, you know that we have Katie, the wizard behind the curtain, in the background, populating our comments and whatnot. So I just wanted to offer a little tidbit that Katie happens to love the show that I'm talking about next. And any of you who are fans of The Office, Michael Scott, Dunder Mifflin, Katie is a huge fan of that. So to be able to talk about The Office today, because The Office is an American mockumentary that depicted the everyday lives of office employees in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So it was just an interesting and fun fact, because we do offer certification services to patients of Scranton, Pennsylvania, among other cities in the state as well. So Katie, for you, I just wanted to make sure that we gave a fun fact mention for The Office coming out of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And that show lasted 9 seasons. And I watched every single show. One of my favorites. So if you haven't seen it, if you're looking for a fun show to binge watch, this is your show. Hershey is considered the chocolate capital of the United States. I think many people love chocolate. I know I love chocolate. You know, if you're interested in chocolate, I know there's a fun theme park there, so be sure to visit when safe to do so. Be sure to visit Hershey, the Hershey theme park there. Punxsutawney citizens are proud to be overshadowed by the town's most famous resident, the world-renowned weather forecasting groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil. So many of you watch for Groundhog Day, and you know that if the groundhog comes out and sees its shadow, then we're going to have a longer winter. If he doesn't see a shadow, then we have spring right around the corner. But there was also a fun movie that came out, I think it was in the 80s or the 90s, starring Bill Murray, Groundhog Day. So again, if you're kind of on lockdown a little bit and you're looking for something to kill some time and you need a good laugh, Groundhog Day starring Bill Murray is definitely a fun movie to watch. So getting into the reason we're here today, cannadocs. Cannadocs we're proud to be the largest multi-state medical cannabis evaluation and education center in the United States. So today, Erica, Adrian, and I are very excited to talk to you about what makes cannadocs so special and why we feel confident that we're able to provide these services to patients in Pennsylvania and other states where we operate in such a compliant and compassionate way. So we'll get into talking about that. Something very unique about our situation today, about how we're able to service our patients, is the fact that in light of COVID, Governor Wolf actually changed a notice on March 25th, actually expanding telemedicine services to not only renewing patients, but to new patients as well. So if you are considering entrance into the state's program, if you are due for renewal, then we can connect you with a licensed and registered physician via telemedicine. So Erica and Adrian will go into those details in a little bit, but rest assured. So if you're listening now and you're anywhere in the state, listen in, because we can connect you to a licensed and registered physician for purposes of certification into the state's program. So this isn't just limited to our physical brick and mortar locations in the state. This is actually expanding out to anywhere. So whether you're in Pittsburgh, you're in Scranton, you're in Philadelphia, Allentown, Erie, listen in, because we do have the ability to service you as a patient by connecting you with licensed and registered medical doctors. So Erica and Adrian, I'm going to turn it over to you now. So I guess the first question our patients would, or potential patients would be asking is, who can participate in this program?
Yeah, that's a great question, because every state has, a different list of qualifying conditions. And I think we owe credit to advocates like Adrian, who have advocated for the addition of these conditions. So with Pennsylvania, it's a pretty good list as far as what would qualify. Of course, they have PTSD. They have chronic pain, which is an umbrella term for multiple conditions, including, lumbar pain or any sort of chronic pain that has lasted over 3 months or more. So always keep that in mind, that chronic pain isn't so much, it's an umbrella term. So if you think that you might qualify from chronic pain, it's definitely a good idea to reach out to us and just ask us a couple of questions. We're always available for questions. HIV, AIDS, PTSD, autism, that's not on every state's list, but it certainly was a great addition for Pennsylvania to add. There are a lot of mama bears, as we could call them, advocating for the use of autism for their patients or for their children. So we're glad to see that on the list. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else. PTSD, anxiety. Anxiety is a big one. Not many states add anxiety to their list. New Jersey is one, but Pennsylvania did not take a whole lot of time, going back and forth about it. I think Dr. Rachel Levine really recognized that this is a condition that is assisted by the use of cannabis. And, they went through the normal process to add it, and it's on there, and it's great because it's helping a lot of patients. Those are the main conditions, but of course there are, 23 total. So that would be the first qualifying thing, is to have one of those conditions. And then next, the patient would just, schedule an appointment either online, or they can call the call center, schedule an appointment with us.
And what's that
we
website,
walk them through
Erica?
the entire
What's that
process.
website? I'm sorry?
That's www.cannacaredocs.com. So it's CANNACAREDOCS.com. And then they could just book online. That automatically puts them in the queue for a telemed appointment. So again, it is all done virtually. It is all done via video conference. You do not have to leave your home. You can stay safe and protected, just, seeing the doctor from the couch. And we've gotten it down pretty good. Doctors are definitely learning the technology as much as they possibly can. But we walk them through it, and we also walk the patient through it. So we are there to support you. We will help you register if you cannot do that on your own. So registering with the Department of Health is the next step after scheduling the appointment. Submitting your ID and any medical records if available. In Pennsylvania, they do allow doctors to assess and diagnose patients. So, we will spend extra time, going through an assessment with that patient just to ensure that they are qualified. And then once they do that, they receive the certification. So you'll receive notification from the Department of Health that the certification has been completed. And then after you do that, you can just log back into your Department of Health account, pay the $50 for the card, and it arrives in about 7 to 10 business days.
Okay.
If a patient receives any sort of state assistance, they can actually get that $50 fee lowered to $25. And that is an automatic process. So you just choose the service, if it's CBT, SNAP, CHIP, Medicaid. If they choose one of those options that they receive that, it's an automatic process to have the $25 fee rather than the $50.
Okay. I just want to circle back for a second, and then we'll go ahead and recap. That was a great step-by-step process that you went through, Erica. We'll go ahead and just recap that again in just a bit for those who might just be trying to play catch up. And I'm sure Katie is populating some of that information in our comments as well. But I do want to go back to some of the qualifying conditions that you talked about. So for those of you who may have seen Green Chat prior, coming live from a different state, I know we're coming to you for the first time in Pennsylvania here, but we've talked about the parent company of CannaCareDocs, and that is CB2 Insights. So obviously there are many patient interactions, and through these interactions, patients' information is collected into their patient portal for the purposes, of course, of allowing their physician to track and monitor their progress through the use of cannabinoid therapy. So that information has proven very valuable to physicians in order to not only help that individual patient and really enhance that bona fide patient-physician relationship, but also allow the different interactions and the different levels of efficacy to really analyze how certain conditions interact with cannabis for other patients as well. So circling back to our parent company, CB2 Insights, if you visit the CB2 Insights website and then actually there's a data dashboard there. So that's www.cb2insights.com/data. There's some great information there which really provides insight into cannabis demographics, cannabis data that really shows just different things. And I had a few minutes before our show today, and I did a little bit of digging into that dashboard, and I looked at the patients of Pennsylvania. Now, based on the qualifying conditions, and as Erica mentioned, I think she said there were 23 possible conditions. Within Pennsylvania, the existing patient base that CannaCareDocs has in Pennsylvania, I looked at all age groups, and the number one presented condition in Pennsylvania was chronic pain, with 33% of patients presenting that condition, followed by anxiety, right behind it at 32%, and then PTSD at 10%. And I think as we look at other states as well, they run very similar. So again, that was for all age groups. Number one qualifying condition being presented was chronic pain. I changed the demographics a little bit, and I looked at patient population between 31 to 40, and that actually changed the results a little bit. So as opposed to chronic pain being the number one presented condition, anxiety at 34% actually, it kind of flip-flopped with that condition. So anxiety was the number one presented qualifying condition for patients between 31 and 40, followed by chronic pain, and then of course PTSD. So there seems to be some trend lines in Pennsylvania as well as other states as far as what those qualifying conditions seem to be as far as being most common. Erica, do you have any thoughts on that? Or Adrian, feel free to jump in as well.
Well, I think, just speaking in the times that we're in, there is a general increase of the amount of anxiety the average person is dealing with. And I think that, properly maintained, or dosed, cannabis can certainly be an effective treatment for that. I myself have severe anxiety, but in my state, I don't qualify. I have to go through basically almost a backdoor condition in order to treat my anxiety. So it's actually very progressive of Pennsylvania. And having run, I take care of 4 states, and I know a 5th state. I know the process for these states, and Pennsylvania has really taken such a big step. Just the way that their process works, how easy it is for patients, the fact that they allow physicians to assess and diagnose and really decide whether cannabis is the right option for their patient. It really is, of all of the states that I take care of, it is actually the most patient-friendly, meaning that it is accommodating and compassionate to the patients of Pennsylvania. And of course, there's always room for improvement. But when it comes to anxiety, I really think that everyone has a degree of anxiety. It's really, if it's clinical, anxiety where they're dealing with it it's affecting their life, it's affecting their quality of life. That's when it's really time to seek treatment. And a lot of patients are given medications through their, through a psychiatrist or through their primary care, that would not be something that you can take and then go, play with the kids or take care of it. It's something that's, sometimes really intoxicating in the sense that you can't do anything after you take that medication. And cannabis is just not, it's just better for quality of life purposes, at least for me, as I speak for an anxiety patient. Being able to consume my medicine and then go on with my day and, and not have to go take a nap is certainly a better quality of life for me. So I think that cannabis has definitely become more of a mainstream option to treat this condition, right. And therefore anxiety patients are reaching out for our assistance.
That's a great point. And Erica, thank you for sharing that. Adrian, please feel free to speak on the topic.
Yes, I think that currently there are just a number of external stressors that are, common to everybody right now, and it really can exacerbate anxiety, the high stress level in our current situation. So I'm not surprised at all to see the numbers of patients rising greatly. It really, it does help deal with stress. It's always helped me deal with stress, and much better than any kind of pharmaceutical. I can't take a lot of different kind of pharmaceuticals just because my stomach just can't handle them. So I've always been partial to cannabis because of my stomach issues.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great for stress.
So going back to the interaction with the clinician, and perhaps Erica, you can speak to this. What can a patient expect? Now, obviously, there are the different processes, the registering on the Pennsylvania website, but once that patient gets to their appointment, so let's say they've booked their appointment, they've gone to www.cannadocs.com, they've set up their booking, they've selected their day and their time, and they have their appointment. What can they typically expect of their visit, even albeit virtually? What can they expect of that experience?
Yeah, actually, either Adrian or Megan or Sierra from the Pennsylvania team will reach out to them. And Adrian, why don't you take that one? That's something that you do every day, reaching out to patients before their appointment to walk them through this. So why don't you explain that?
Well, I'm always happy to help patients if they need a helping hand registering with the Department of Health. They basically go to the website, which I believe it's pamedicalmarijuana.com, and then you click for access a card, and then you basically choose a username and a password, and they have you fill out your name and address and phone number, and then you're registered, and you contact us, and we're happy to schedule you as soon as possible. With telemed, it's made things so much more convenient. If people have urgent requests, urgent needs, we can often accommodate them because they don't have to travel anywhere. They don't have to physically meet with the doctor. We get them scheduled, and we put them in a time that works for them, and we get their ID. They have to give us their ID and just medication, any current medications that they're on. And they speak to the doctor. It's usually not a terribly long appointment. And then once that's completed, they can go on and pay their state fee. Like Erica mentioned that it's either $25 or $50. And from that generates their card. And it's been anywhere from 5 to 12 business days lately.
Okay.
With the increased volume, things are taking a little bit longer, but most people are receiving their cards in good time.
Okay, so the process seems very simple and streamlined. And again, I believe Katie's populated those steps in our comments. If not, Adrian had mentioned a site, and I know Katie will go ahead and populate the website information as well, so patients can directly access that. Let's say now a patient they've been approved, they have their card. Where can they access medicine?
Well, there are, I believe, 87 dispensaries currently. Now the number keeps going up. There eventually will be, I believe, a total of 150, if I'm not mistaken. But right now we have, I think, 87. I know previously a lot of dispensaries would require or encourage patients to make an appointment on their first visit and have them sit with a pharmacist for a few minutes and speak with the pharmacist. I believe due to COVID, that has probably been waived. I know a lot of patients are using online ordering and curbside pickup to minimize contact with other patients and dispensary and staff. So that's become very helpful, made it a lot more convenient for a lot of patients. But I would recommend patients who are going to the dispensary for the first time to call ahead just to make sure they don't want them to make an appointment, because it's just always better to save a trip. You don't want to go there and be disappointed,
right,
if they don't have time that day to see you. But I know that dispensaries have really tried to be very accommodating in our current COVID situation.
Thank you for sharing that. Erica, did you have anything to add to that?
No, so we work really closely with the dispensaries, obviously. We do grant them basically a compassion program where each dispensary is allowed, discount certifications for hardship. So I know that we are in a time where a lot of people are left unemployed or underemployed. So I would definitely speak to the dispensary about that opportunity. If you are having trouble, covering the cost of your certification, we do have certain programs set up to assist with that, and dispensary managers have access to me. They can reach out to me directly to discuss those things. But other than that, the dispensaries have done such an amazing job in Pennsylvania, just really implementing changes that keep their patients safe, and did so in such I wouldn't say completely seamless, but kind of. They did the best that they can.
I don't think anything was seamless during COVID. No, I don't think that could have been expected even.
No, it was not. But they did really great. Dispensaries like Keystone and Herbology and the Apothecarium, they are just doing a tremendous amount of work for their patients, and they enjoy it. They do it with a smile. So it's glad to work closely with companies like that.
Sure.
And also, I'd like to mention Terra Vita and a number of they kind of spearheaded the caregiver delivery. Right now, a lot of patients have that was their number one request, is delivery. And during the COVID crisis, they jumped right on that and started a caregiver delivery program, which has been incredibly successful and helpful to a lot of patients.
Yeah, it's definitely an asset to the program to have dispensaries that advocate for things that are good for patients as well.
That's true. And again, Erica, you work amongst many states, and within many states' medical cannabis programs. We as an organization touch many different states' medical cannabis programs, and it warms my heart to know that Pennsylvania is so patient-centric and really focuses on the needs of patients. Even in light of COVID, I mean, the governor's decision to allow for telehealth, the dispensaries offering delivery services, curbside pickup, everything really is focused on the needs of the patient. And that's so very important. It's such a compassion-driven program. It's certainly the core of what we at cannadocs believe in, is that every patient that's walking through the door has made walking through the door, and in today's cases, picking up the phone to have their appointment, has made the choice to choose a therapy that isn't traditional. So in a lot of cases, we see that patients still have some apprehension, some reservation because of the stigma that's associated with cannabis therapies. But we firmly believe that the compassionate level of service that we provide to patients really reassures them that the decision to move forward with cannabinoid therapy is the right one for them, and is the right one to helping achieve their healthcare goals. So with that being said, Erica, Adrian, any final thoughts before we go ahead and close off for the day?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I was so encouraged at the start of this pandemic that dispensaries were being given the status of being an essential operation. So from that got it started in a good way. And for those who, like you mentioned, patients who are starting this therapy and it's not a conventional therapy, it actually has been in the past. I would just want to remind everybody that cannabis was in the pharmacopoeia until all throughout the 1800s and the early 1900s. So it's not completely new. It's been around. So anybody that's starting out know that it does have a long history as use as a medicine in our culture.
Thank you for sharing
and
that,
that's why
Adrian.
Adrian's my favorite educator.
That's an absolutely perfect point to make, Adrian, is that despite the fact that formalized medical cannabis programs themselves may be more recent in their nature, cannabis as a medicine certainly is not. So thank you for making such an important point, and that's just a great way to wrap up our segment today. So again, if you're sitting at home and you're contemplating the notion of becoming a medical cannabis patient, please reach out, www.cannadocs.com. We can very easily connect you right through our website. In the upper right-hand corner, click Book an Appointment. You can select the day and the time that works conveniently for you. You can do this all right from your home. Your appointment will be from your home. So if you know you have some quiet time where you can step aside into a different room and have yourself some privacy, you can conduct your appointment right from the comfort and safety of your own home. There's no need to step out. I know there's still considerable concern about the risks associated with COVID. Many people still don't feel comfortable leaving their homes, and that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. This program is designed to ensure that you still have access to a patient registration, a patient certification, and of course, access to your medicine by way of the means that Adrian discussed through delivery or curbside pickup or whatnot. So we are here to help facilitate any of this process for you. In some cases, it's very daunting, and we don't want you to feel like that burden rests with you. Call us, 866-846-2420. We have an amazing call center staff that is very knowledgeable and can compassionately and informedly answer your questions. So please note that we have multiple ways that we can provide you information. So follow us on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Updates come through there as well. So I'm just at the closing here. I just wanted to finish off with our thank yous. And first and foremost, of course, Erica, Adrian, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy days to join me here today to talk to the patients and the potential patients in the state of Pennsylvania. Thank you both.
It's an honor. Thank you.
I would like to send thank yous. There's a big team here that makes all of this possible. So thank you to all of our CannaCareDocs staff in Pennsylvania. We appreciate all that you do. Our CannaCareDocs Pennsylvania physicians. We appreciate the level of compassion that you provide to patients as well. Of course, Jean St. Pierre and Eric B. Media. This wonderful arrangement here is provided by Eric B. Media. You can find more information there, www.ericbmedia.com. Katie will go ahead and populate that in the comments. I want to say thank you to CB2 Insights, parent company to CannaCareDocs. Again, if you're interested in some more information, check out the CB2 Insights website there. I believe Katie has probably already populated that earlier in the comments section. And finally, just a big thank you to any of you who may have taken the time to watch us live today. Thank you very much. We appreciate your interest in our services. Thank you to those who might be considering becoming CannaCareDocs patients in the future. We're happy to help you through this process. We want to help you achieve your healthcare goals. So we appreciate that you've taken the time to watch, and we really hope that you'll trust in us. We've been in existence since 2013. CannaCareDocs has been serving patients since 2013. So we feel very confident that our level of compassion and the various processes that we've put together to ensure a compliant and safe experience for our patients is really just top notch. So again, thank you very much. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you next Tuesday at noon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.